Yeah. Well, that's good. Oh, it's even better now. We're here. Good evening, everybody. Big warm welcome to the Lyceum night, coming to you from the Paul Christian Spiritualist Church down on the south coast of the UK. Great delight. We've had a wonderful day here today with our Christmas market, and the wonderful Mark Stone is with us.
Evening.
So Mark has very kindly agreed to go on the Lyceum. Yeah. Mark, you're doing the Lyceum at 7. Get yourself ready.
A Lawrence volunteer.
Yeah. No more wine. You're alive at 7. I think I'm joking. So, yeah, we've got Mark here. We haven't really got a topic as such, have we?
No, I mean, we've been chatting about a few things recently, and I think one of the things that has come up actually in conversations in the last few days for me, or last week or so, is this aspect of awareness and about being aware of people, not just being aware solely of the other world and how we sense and feel the other world, but also what we feel about other people and discerning how we feel about people and other people's energy. And, you know, when people say, you know, how do you know or feel if someone's kind of, you know, genuine or not, and how can we trust our feelings, or, you know, and so there's a lot of that, and we've chatted about that on, you know, a number of occasions. And I think that, you know, it's part of that personal development to actually be able to sort of use that sensitivity to recognize energy, whether it's discarnate or incarnate, but actually have that perception of people and situations in life. So I found that's cropped up quite a lot recently.
Really funny, isn't it? Things go round, topics come to the fore, and it's like everybody's talking about it for a while, and then something else will flow in and take its place. It's wonderful. But like you, I'm old school. I was trained under the old school mediums, and we always used to have to do a thing in circle about discerning the spirit, discerning who we're communicating with. And of course, there is that natural. That was never fully explored, I don't think, at that time, that it goes into today's world, just not just your circle work. But of course it does.
Yeah.
I know I used to think I'm terrible at doing this, but actually, I think it's a very useful thing. I'm not right all the time.
No.
I know that. I am not right, but I'll tell you what, I'm more right than I'm wrong.
It's trusting. I think often when you sort of meet people, we don't realize that how much we take in or become aware of on that subconscious level. And we get a feeling, but we can't always put the finger on what the feeling is. And so often, you know, we get a hunch or a feeling or an inclination about someone. And of course, you know, we may get those feelings, but we don't necessarily have to suddenly behave any differently, but we become aware.
Yeah.
You know, aware of certain people's energies. You know, there are people that I meet and I go, oh my God, that's my dad's energy. The minute I meet them, before they've even said anything, I'm going, okay, I'll be a little careful here. I'll be a little aware here. And then it proves out to be right. And I go, well, there you go. There was the feeling. But often so many people get feelings and they get sidetracked by what's said, the noise, if you like, of what people say, but they don't always feel into underneath what's being said, what's real.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, when it comes to, you know, when we talk about our awareness, we think of, you know, the mediumistic awareness. And this is why I think this awareness also of the psychic, of the living, is so important, because, you know, we aren't dealing with people in the spirit world, dealing with people here. And so that personal development, being able to understand about people, you know, just because somebody wears a label as a spiritualist or a spiritual person or a light worker or whatever you want to call them, that doesn't mean that they haven't got the frailties that we've all got. But of course, sometimes people almost put that aside and say, well, I wouldn't expect someone who's spiritual to behave like that, or to do this, or to do that.
Oh, but they're a medium. They couldn't be like that.
Yeah. Or they're a healer. A medium is still a person. A healer is still a person. We've still got our issues. We can still be lovely, lovely people, or not so lovely people. We're open to the foibilities and frailties of all life and experience. So, you know, but we don't expect it, and of course, so therefore, maybe we don't always look for it. And certainly, I don't know about you, but in my development, because in my early years, I had a lot of terrible upsets, almost to the point of walking away with other mediums or other people in the movement. Yeah. And at the time, what it did was it opened my eyes to, it's not the medium or the healer, it's the person. Yes. It's not the spiritualism, it's the person, and how they behave and how they are. So I learnt very early on, as I'm sure you did through your experience as well in spiritualism, that you have to be aware of people and how people are and how people present themselves and the feeling underneath that.
Yeah, so true. And it's something we tend to dismiss too quickly as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we'll just get that first little waft of something.
A waft. A waft of it, yes.
Get a quick sniff of them.
Oh, don't start me. Not this early into it. Yeah.
But you do. You get that first little waft, and you just put it to one side. Where really you just think, "Oh, okay. What is this reminding me of?"
Yeah.
That's always a good question. What does this remind me of?
Yeah. And if you feel the undercurrent of a situation, and you go, and then you go, "Oh, don't be so silly. That's me just catastrophizing or getting to it." And I think we're far too quick to dismiss. And also other people tell us, "Oh, no, you're being so cynical." And you go, "No, I'm just being aware. I'm not saying I'm going to treat someone differently. I'm not saying I'm going to make a decision based on that differently. I'm still going to always be respectful and polite and whatever." But, you know, we can be, it's the forewarned is forearmed. You can be a little bit more reserved or in your own space or in your own energy and maybe hold back. You know, my mum's always got a lovely one. Never trust a gusher. So if somebody literally is all over you, they're your best friend, and within minutes of meeting you, they wish they could win the lottery and buy you a house. That's not a normal conversation for first meeting someone. And in, you know, in every time I've had that, I think my mum's been right and the feelings have been right. So it can be, it's again knowing about personality and psychology, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
You know, and learning through experience.
Definitely. Just a quick hello to everybody all the way from lovely Sydney. Good morning, Belinda, Tessa, and Lynn.
Yay,
nice to see you today.
And Sandra.
I hope we're all finding you very well, Sandra. That has been wonderful. So yeah, it is fascinating, isn't it? And especially with our work as evidential mediums, it should be sort of like natural to us. It should be.
Yeah. I think it's the focus though. How do we focus our awareness? How do we focus our intuition? I mean, you know, one of the things, and I'm sure you must do this when you work with groups of people. But when you
get out my church,
get out my yeah, never darken these doors again.
You what?
When you, it's all right. He's had a long night as well as a long day.
Yeah.
But when you sit and work with students in circles and things, you tend to be observing energy. You're observing their energy. You're observing what happens with them when they sit. You also kind of observe interactions with them outside of the time of sitting. And you know, you often, and I don't know about you, I often have little conversations with the spirit world about the students that I have, and if there's anything I need to be aware of or know to help them, support them, or if there's anything that, you know, we might need to be extra gentle or extra careful with. And that, you know, invariably over the years, the minute certain people will walk in, even if I'm doing a workshop at a church where I don't know the people, the minute people walk in, you can get a gist of the energy, a gist of what's there, or what the person's dealing with very, very quickly. And that can help you to help them.
Yeah.
And, you know, and work with their awareness and them as an individual, you know, not just about their mediumship, but about their life as well.
I was taking a workshop, and it was the first time I'd ever said it, and I went, why am I saying this? You go through like the house. No, I wasn't taking it. I was hosting for, and I was going through the housekeeping, and I got to the end part. So Lou's there. If you see me running, follow me because there's something wrong. Because I only run if something's wrong. And I said, and remember, we are a very inclusive place, and we've got to treat everybody respectfully. And I was saying it, going, "What the hell am I saying this? I've never said this before." And as that session unfolded, somebody there reared up because they knew everything. Why do you come to a workshop when you know everything? I never understand that with people. No, that's wrong. Well, if you know everything, why are you here? What are you doing here? Go away. But yeah, it is. And it's wonderful when you are in that environment and you just get that little inkling. And again, as often we talk here at Paul Church, we have a lot of people come in and we'll sit and have conversations. And I said, a conversation is fine. We are allowed to comment on things in the movement, practices, individuals. But we don't sit there and go, oh yeah, Daniela Nihao, oh yeah, see her. Sorry, Daniela, we love you.
That's it, you're axed.
Yorkie bar, and that's it. We don't go in on that energy. No. It's just, you just say, oh, tell you what, I saw so-and-so work the other week.
Yeah.
And they've really come on.
And observation is a key part of everything we do. It's what we're told to do when we're sitting and moving into that power. What is it you sense? What is it you feel from the other world? And an observation in life is important as well.
Yeah.
You have to pay attention. So often we've got people going around like this in the world, glued to their screens, and they're not paying attention to life around them. First of all, dangerous, especially when you're crossing the road, still like this in your mobile phone.
Driving the bus.
You want to get to Spirit quicker. That's the obvious. And but so many people are not paying attention to the world around them. So many people aren't watching. I was watching somebody I know have a meeting online, and I was sat the opposite side of the computer, so I could only see the face of the person in the room. And they've got earphones in. So no, they haven't got earphones in. So the speaker, I could hear the other person talk. And when they were saying something, I said, "Do you realise you don't hide anything on your face?" And went, "What do you mean?" I said, "Your face was obvious that the comment that was made by the person on the screen affected you because your face really just changed." I went, "I didn't realise I did that." And I went, "Yeah, you do." And I said, "And this comment really affected them, and their face will have changed." I said, "How do you know their face changed when you couldn't see it?" I said, "Because I could hear it in the energy of the voice." And so, in mediumship, we're told to be aware of the energy of the recipient. If we're in a church, about is the energy strong when you're making that link, or is it weakening? And then you might be in the wrong place, or you're getting the information wrong in some way. But again, not everybody pays attention, and that's the whole thing. We want people to do more. If you want to do yourself the biggest favor in mediumship, is pay more attention to life around you. Pay attention to the conversations, pay attention to the individual responses that people are talking about when you're having a discussion. Pay attention to the world around you and all the small detail. If you want to work on clairvoyance and working with color or whatever, pay attention to the color of everything, the images that are around you, the smallest detail of anything that's there. You want to work on your clairaudience, focus in on the sound of everything. It's paying attention and observing. And when we were having this discussion today, weren't we, about, we're allowed to discuss, we're allowed to observe. It depends on the style of conversation. And sometimes people kind of launch into, I'm going to tell you my opinion, and I don't want to hear your opinion back, which is fine.
Or this is the truth.
This is the truth. This is the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But often, if the person's happy with that, unless they're directly asking, "Mark, what do you think?" it's not necessarily for me to always proffer an opposing opinion or thought, because they've not asked what I think. They're telling me what they think. And sometimes you think, actually, by the energy and the feeling, there's no debate going to happen here. So do I need to broach this? Do I need to discuss? or just let it go and go, oh, that's nice.
And do you find sometimes when that happens, you can tell by that because it becomes a little bit like a fervour with them, you know, and this is and really like overemphasis, and you just think you don't actually believe what you're talking about, or you're not grasping, or you've not understood something fundamental,
or it's a regurgitation of someone else's belief.
Oh yeah, this is trouble with social media now, isn't it? Did you know? No, nobody knew that because it's nonsense. Tessa, artist. What do you do, love? Anyway, yeah, no. Ignore me. It's been a very, very, very long day, and I had a very, very, very late night last night. So, working in hospitals was good teaching ground. First for me, experiencing many different characters and types of energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I suppose in hospital you'd be vulnerable, wouldn't you? You wouldn't put the barriers up that people, you know, wandering around Sainsbury's will have. Absolutely.
And also you're seeing people in different states of you know, happiness, stress, relief, anger, upset. Even working in areas of retail, anywhere where you're dealing with people. Anywhere where you're dealing with people, retail's a great example of it. Because the minute someone walks in a shop, you can, oh, okay, know what's going to happen here. And learning how you deal with people, you know, and psychology is huge. Yeah, working on airplanes, Belinda. Yeah, very much. I bet you see absolutely everything that goes on in a confined space as well, and that adds to almost I was going to say exacerbates, but almost, you know, amplifies. This is a bit like, you know, when exacerbates good as well. But I like amplified.
I like
exacerbate. But I like as well. It's a bit like when we see things going into the circle. Circles become very intense, very sometimes can become overly possessive. I don't know how many of you have been in a circle that's run for many years, so everybody's got used to everybody else, and then someone new comes in because maybe numbers have dropped or somebody else wants to join. And sometimes that's lovely because they're coming into this lovely family, albeit maybe a dysfunctional family, but lovely family, a bit off the wall maybe. But sometimes new people coming in can bring out the worst in the protective, this is our circle, this is our church, or this is our space kind of thing. And I've seen that. I used to have that when I used to have a circle that sat for me. And I had somebody new come in who the spirit world said that there's somebody new that's going to come in. And so I sort of told the other sitters that someone new was going to join. And when they came in, this other couple took an instant dislike to her. And they were making it very obvious in their manner and their energy in the circle. And they sort of came and said, well, you know, we want her out the circle because, you know, we don't think her energy's right for the circle, and we don't think this. And I said, look, I don't have a problem with her energy, and the circle's sitting for me. So I said, if you've got a real issue with her, I think you need to consider whether you can get over it, or whether maybe the circle isn't right for you anymore. And what was interesting was, and how it worked out, every week they couldn't come, she was able to attend. Every week, every time she couldn't attend, they were able. And for 6 months, they didn't get to sit with each other once after that. It worked out. And then she got a new job, which meant she had to work nights. And she said, I really don't want to let you down, but she said, I've really enjoyed this, but I've got this new job. And I said, that's great. And then they came almost every week after that. So it was interesting how it was almost manufactured. So both lots could still sit.
Yeah.
But I would normally say if someone's got the problem, they're the ones that's got to sort the problem out.
Yeah, because you've actually brought the problem in. You're not unearthing a problem. You're
creating.
Yeah. So Belinda's saying there, lots of brains left at home and big egos checked in with the luggage. I'm not going to say what I could be saying. Say nothing. Don't get yourself into trouble. You like some more wine?
No, not at the moment. I might start saying something I shouldn't. I might end up doing God knows what and volunteering for. Who knows? But I think you know, when we look at things, mediumship is a lot more. and awareness is a lot more. You know, we're very keen on putting everything into little boxes. Healing is, mediumship is, awareness and psychic awareness is, trance is, and trying to put all these things into boxes. But actually, what it is it's an expression of the, if we want to say, the divine power or the spirit power in every aspect of life. And everything that we do, every conversation we have, every, you know, we walk down to the shop to get a pint of milk, and that is a part of our spiritual journey. We might meet someone on that journey and start talking to them, and our life changes from that point onwards. There's no knowing. And I think this is where, if we're not paying attention, you know, you have people that sort of say, oh, I don't know what I should be doing, and I don't know where I should be going. And you sort of start talking to them and saying, well, are you paying attention to what's going on around you? Are you paying attention to what life is showing you, what life is reflecting to you? You know, because you know, everything is constantly changing. Your awareness is constantly changing. So, you know, we need to be very focused into a way of looking at things, a way of working with things in such a way that we pay more attention. And we recognize that we're spirit communicating all the time.
Yeah, that is so true.
You know, I always say to my students, I said, you know, and at churches, and I said, you know, there's all these people wanting to talk to dead people, but yet they won't talk to the person sat next to them in the room. And I said, and that concerns me, that you want to work in a field of communication, yet you don't want to communicate. Or you find it, you know, impossible to communicate, or your communication isn't something. So work on your communication, you know, work on your inspiration, work on your philosophy. And, you know, we have this, because I know you're into your philosophy, as am I. People are frightened of the word philosophy.
Oh, terrifying.
People, but actually, when you sort of say, well, it's the love of learning, it's the love of knowledge. And when you say your philosophy is what you've gone through in life. Oh, hello. What are you doing now?
Trying to find out.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
There's people. Somebody's just said hello, Bill Rich, but I've not seen any comments from Bill Rich. So
well, maybe it just says Bill Rich is watching. So hello, Bill. I hope you're all right if you're on there.
I thought she might have just been very psychic.
Oh, you get me all confused now. I'm on
there we go. We're back in the studio. 3, 2, 1, back in the room.
Good evening, Chris, as well. There you go. Good timing, Chris. You've come into the mayhem and the madness of a Lyceum evening. Oh, dear. But yeah, so I think this awareness in life and recognizing every moment that we're talking to someone, there's a communication going on. How are we interacting with that? You know, are we listening? Because a lot of people are on transmit. And they don't hear. And you know, you say to someone, "Oh, how are you?" "Oh, I've been terrible." "Yeah, my life's really awful."
Yeah.
And it's not like, "Oh, why? What's happened with you?" It's, I need to tell you how bad my life is, or my life's a lot worse. And you know, we all want to be there to support each other, but are we paying attention to the fact that person needs support? Are we seeing that subtle clues and energy that's going on within that communication? You know, are we aware of the fact that suddenly someone seems a lot quieter and more withdrawn? You know, have we paid attention to that? You know, or is somebody very, very different in what's going on? Or and you know, and it's paying attention to the fact. You know, we often pay attention when we notice something different in a positive. We go, "Oh, they're more jolly than usual." But do we notice the fact and say, "Oh, they're quite quiet at the moment. I wonder what's happening." And maybe there's a need. Maybe your attention's drawn to that. You know, to have that conversation. Or, you know, when you said that, I noticed there was a bit of a change in you. Is everything all right when we were talking about that? You know, well, no, that's what I mean. That's the conversation. Well, let's go through the list.
We're only on for an hour.
Yes, volume 2, addendum 1.
But no, I really like that about the communication. Yeah, and I know that, but I've not really coalesced it as an active thought until now. But yeah, actually, no, I have said it.
Yeah,
I said, you know, we're meant to be here talking to dead people, and we can't even talk to each other. What the hell is going on? And
it's recognizing that it's an important part. Chris has got a comment here, if you want to bring up. And do we listen to ourselves? You know, do we pay attention to what we're saying? and also the inner communication whilst we're externally communicating, you know, and the communication from the spirit world. I mean, you know, you and I have often said that, you know, we were going to do something, and then we heard a voice of the spirit world say, don't forget to do this or do this or do that. And we go, well, why? And then we find out why 6 hours down the line or a day down the line.
Instead of just going, okay.
And we just listen, because it becomes second nature to listen to that inner voice, whether it's personal inner voice, that, you know, our own spirit within, or the spirit world. But a lot of people, again, they don't spend time alone with their thoughts. You know, when you say to people about meditating every day, oh, I haven't got time to do that. I haven't got time. And it's like, well, everything really stems from being able to go into the stillness and blend. And again, if you're not going to give any time to that, I always say to people, you know, if I said to you, I want you to learn fluent Russian, but I'm only going to give you 1 hour a week to learn it, do you think you're ever going to really understand how to speak fluent Russian? And we're saying we want to learn how to communicate with the spirit world in a whole different way, this finer energy and influence. And yet we think that only sitting once a week for maybe half an hour in a circle is enough to do that. And then are we applying whatever we're learning in an everyday context?
Yeah.
And again, a lot of people, it's only at circle. And this isn't about only at circle. This is about in all of your life. Are you paying attention? Are you being aware? You know, are you paying attention to the spirit within, the spirit without, the spirit in the body around you, the other people? And I don't think people always are. They're too consumed in this one little space, in this one little narrow vision, if they're not careful.
Yep. Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. And I do like that about, you know, if you only sit once a week. When we run the circles here, we run them as courses, so it's a set time. So it's not something that's just going to drag on. Oh, here we are again. You know, it's just like, oh, God. But I always say to people at the end of it, you know, you've just done a 6-week course of me. I said, you've only been with me 12 hours.
Absolutely.
Don't think that's going to make you a medium, because you're not working on this actively every day and over the years. You get out what you put in.
Yeah. And I think that this again mirrors, and I know we've said this before on a number of things, you know, the fast pace of life and the fast pace of information in an instant, everything done at the touch of a button within seconds. You know, people kind of get into this habit that everything's got to be now. And Chris has said it again there, it's that people are not patient. But it's a lot of things in life now are sold as a quick fix solution.
Yeah.
Quick fix solution to this, a quick fix solution to your debt, a quick fix solution to weight loss, a quick fix solution to whatever it may be, your mediumship. I mean, there was a book that I saw published going back a number of years ago, which said 12 weeks to make you a platform medium. And I thought, good God, 12 weeks, and I've wasted all these years to do it. And if only I'd had that book. Yeah. But, you know, it appeals to this, I want it now and I want it yesterday. And mediumship is so constantly unfolding and always changing and always moving and always expanding in our awareness, if we're allowing it to, of course, if we're not trying to force it and shoehorn it into a mold of our choosing, you know, which happens quite a bit. You know, mediumship, you know, everyone has such huge amount of potential in so many different areas, but it takes time to explore all those different areas. It takes time to investigate to your own satisfaction what you make of different areas of phenomena and mediumship and philosophy and understanding. And yet people are going, you know, we see this, I want to be up on the platform, but I only do mediumship demonstrations because I don't do philosophy and I don't do readings and I don't do prayers and I don't do this. But I want to be on a church platform. And again, we're both old school. And I'd be like, well, you need to do all of that to be on a platform. If you want to serve a church, you need to be able to do that. And why don't you do? Oh, well, I've not looked into the history. Then go and look at the history, because that will help you with your mediumship. Yeah. You'll learn from it. You'll learn why we're here and how it's formed and how it's affected social change as well as, change within the movement. Look at other mediums, not to say, oh, well, I've got to compare, but actually so that I can be inspired by.
Yeah.
You've got to be inspired by people and go into these things and to grow, and it doesn't matter who we are, whether we start young, whether we start late, whether we were brought up in a spiritualist family or not brought up in a spiritualist family. It doesn't matter where we've come from. We all still have to put in the work within unfoldment. We have to spend the time. You hear a lot of people say, I'm an untrained, purely natural, and I don't need training.
Right.
And it may be that your ability and your gift and your awareness is very, very keen. But do you understand the ethics that go behind it and how what you say can affect another individual? Are you aware of what is needed when we're working with people? Or is it just it's going to come straight out of your mouth no matter what? And is that a positive experience or not? I've sat in front of some people and I've listened to an awful lot of cassettes over the years, shows how old I am, of readings that people have gone to. I know, gramophone records, it was on a cylinder, and then an 8-track. And it's going back. But I've heard some terrible things said to people in readings that are so outrageous. And you just think, why would anyone say this? And then they said, well, they tell people they'll just be truthful and say whatever they get, no matter what. And you think, but where's the ethics and the responsibility? And what if it's not the spirit world that says these things? What if it's the opinion of the medium coming in? What if it's, they're having a bad day and are projecting their bad day onto you as the sitter? All of these things that are there, and it's worrying because, we should take a great deal of responsibility when you teach with someone, when you read for someone, when you do healing with someone, in whatever capacity. You're holding a life in your hands, and you should treat it with the gentility, the respect and the honor that it deserves. It's not just entertainment. I never see mediumship. We might be entertaining. We might make you enjoy a service and, enjoy the demonstration, whatever. But we're not an entertainment. We're still there serving and working with the spirit incarnate in the audience, the discarnate. And in a reading or anything else, it's not a case of, this is just for a bit of entertainment. We're trying to help you look at life and honor this life and honor your life and the life of your loved ones in the spirit world. It should not be, it's just for a bit of entertainment, and treated in that way.
Or for my ego.
Yeah, aren't I wonderful?
Yeah, look at
aren't I fabulous?
Yeah. I had 15 readings today. So many people needed advice, and I really balk when I hear that attached to mediumship, guidance and advice. And I'm like, whose?
Well, this is the dependency.
Whose guidance and advice?
Yeah, but I think this is where again we come back into the age-old thing about the psychic and the mediumistic.
Blind dogs for the guides.
Blind dogs for the guides, and. This is where we come back into that psychic and mediumistic. And again, there's a lot of people need help. And again, if we go back to some of the old mediums of the past, you would go in for a sitting and it wouldn't be up to you what you asked for. You got what you got and you were told. But often a lot of what was told to people did come in to the predictive. Fanny, I was, can't remember who was talking about it, whether it was Glyn talking about it, but he was talking about Fanny Higginson, and when she would give readings to people, she'd only normally give them a one reading and say, if you have to come back to me about what's going on in your life in the future, you haven't listened. And people would say, and you and I will know that there were a lot of local mediums to here who people would refer to as clairvoyants, stroke mediums, whatever, and there would be a great understanding of the predictive. My grandmother had a prediction about my birth and me when my mum was only about 13.
Yeah.
And she was told all about the relationship with my mum and dad. She was told about the fact that there'd only be one child, which would be a son who'd always be involved in spiritualism. She was told all of that. And yet this was a woman in America who'd never met her before at a demonstration at a spiritualist camp, and all this information would come. So I think, again, because of what we've seen in maybe a deterioration in things over the years, we see a lot of silliness or things that aren't particularly ethical. But we've then shied away in the movement from prediction and prophecy and foresight. Oh, you can't prove it. Well, we can't prove it till it happens.
Yeah.
But in the trance state, every year that we've done the rally demonstration, something has been talked about in the demonstration of trance that then within the calendar year or before the end of the year has come to pass.
Yeah.
Now that's prediction.
Yeah.
But, we can't prove it at the time, but it proves itself in the long run. And I think that, we need to be very aware that if we start saying, you can't do this, the spirit world don't do this, mediumship doesn't do this. I get on a platform, we have to be working with that evidential mediumship. But when it comes to working with people that are in need, we need to be able to come into a space that says, what is this person's need? And how, as an aware person, can I help them?
Mm.
And that brings in all of our life experience as well. How many times do you find someone is sat in front of you who's had a similar life experience to you? Do we think that's a coincidence?
Yeah.
Or they're drawn to you because you have an understanding and can help and support them, not just the spirit world, but you.
I did a reading the other day, and I haven't done a reading for ages, and I never push or advertise. I just, if somebody asks one, okay. And somebody asked one, I thought, oh, that's good. I haven't done one for a little while now. That'd be lovely. And yeah, I was exactly right for that person.
There you go.
Because, it went absolutely, I'm just not saying it for my benefit, I'm saying it for the sitter's benefit in the other world.
Yeah.
It worked.
Exactly. But that's if we take the shackles off. It can't be this, it can't be this, it can't be this, it can't be that.
Yeah.
The spirit world will work in an infinite number of ways. And the only person that causes us a problem in that is us. It's our mindset. We put a shackle around the spirit world and restrict them by our thinking and our belief and what we can say we can and can't.
And this is why I think when you have somebody brand new joining a circle, they can often come out with just amazing. So you just sat there and go, "Oh my God, wish I'd said that."
Absolutely, because it's unimpinged, unhindered.
Yeah.
In the way that it works, because we haven't got in our own way going, oh, I've got to get it right, and I've got to do this, and I've got to be that, and what if it's this, and what if it's that? You just kind of go, oh, this is it. This is what I've got. This is how it's coming. We're not interfering.
Exactly what we're trained to do, but we ignore it blithely every time. Say what you see.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm seeing a fish, not a salmon.
Could be.
It could be. So, Lizzie Thomas. Evening, Laurie and Mark. I say in circle every 2 weeks for 7 years. Sadly, some of the circle leaders are not educated or experienced enough. Even if they are, once a fledgling thinks they're good enough, they leave and put themselves out there, bringing spiritualism into disrepute. It shows when they're on the platform, and I find it so upsetting. I think old school feel the same. Yeah.
I can remember, I mean, in the day, back in the day, when we had normally ladies in the church, because our movement has a strong female contingent, more so than us chappies. We used to have ladies that would put the fear of God into the church. We used to refer to them so kindly in those days as battle axes. But if someone got up on a platform and they really shouldn't have been up on the platform, they'd have a stick or a handbag, one or the other, and you'd be tapped and go, you get back to circle for another 2 years. Now, if that happened to someone today, we would have history on it. You're trying to end my career. You don't want me to succeed. You don't want to do.
When are you next one?
Well, how many years have I worked in this excluding? And that used to happen. And people used to be honest. And I think we don't have to be hurtful honest, but I think sometimes we have to say to people, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you're ready to do this? Because the difficulty is, when I had a conversation with someone today, we were talking about Ronnie Barker, the wonderful comedian. And one of the things that we talked about was that he would often submit scripts to the BBC under an assumed name. And he did that because he said when he was writing for the show, everybody around him was going, oh, that's so funny. Everything you write is so funny. And he thought, not everything I write can surely be all funny. There must be some things that fall flat. But I wonder if they're just saying yes because they want to bolster me. So he used to send things in under his own steam. And I wonder if we suffer with this a bit in our movement, and also, outside of a movement. Oh, you're brilliant. You're so amazing. Why are you not up there doing this?
Yeah.
And kind of pushing people before they're ready, or giving people an unwanted expectation. And again, working for the spirit world, although we love it dearly, it's a lot of service and it's a lot of commitment, and it's a big change of life. It's a huge change of life. And I think that this is sometimes a concern, that people don't realize that, you're making a commitment when you go into a circle. Okay, you can go to an open circle. So those of you that don't know, open circles, you can come and go as you please. A closed circle, you've got to show commitment. It always used to be 51 or 50 weeks a year. The only time you didn't come was if you were abroad or you were ill. Or dead. And if you were dead, you had to turn up as a message anyway, so you still had to attend. But that was the commitment you made. And now, and I've run circles for many years, and I know Lawrence has and things, and many of you out there will. So we'll all sympathise with each other in this moment. But you get people going, oh, I can't be at Circle Wednesday because we're going to the theatre. I can't be at Circle next Wednesday because we're going out for a meal. And I'm like, hang on a minute, Wednesday's Circle night. Why are you not committing every Wednesday? And when someone says, can you do Wednesday? No, Circle. It's my night for spirit. That's what we were. That's how we were brought up.
Yeah.
But now it's, oh, I've got this and I've got that, and I can't do this and I've got this and I've got that. And you're thinking it's 1, maybe 2 hours out of a week that you want to keep clear. And yet you don't have the commitment to that. Yeah. But yet you want to then go out and try and commit to serving the spirit in whatever way. And I just think, it's a little ask, but it tells a lot when people can't make that commitment. And I know life gets in the way, so I'm not making people feel guilty. But actually, guilt trip, unfollow, unlike, whatever. But it does require that. And, you hear people say, well, I'm just not getting anywhere. And then when you start to dig down into what's going on, they're not giving the time, they're not sitting, they're not giving stuff, and I think that it's that issue. You've got to realize this is a lifetime of study and service in one form or another. Doesn't mean you're always going to be on the platform as much, or doesn't mean you're always going to be healing in a church or serving on a church committee. There'll be all different ways in which you're going to work with the spirit world, for sure. And life is going to happen. We've got to deal with life. But it's recognizing you think you said it earlier tonight, you get out what you put in.
Yeah.
And, if you don't put in a lot of effort, don't think that necessarily there's going to be a lot of outcome as a result.
Yeah, very true. I was having a conversation with 3 people over the last 3 weeks, and talking about courses both in church and online. And it's amazing that you can start off with 12, 14 people. Come the end of the course, you're down to 8 or 10.
Yeah.
And you just think, you paid up front for all of this as well. This is just, like you say, yes, life does get in the way at times. But this incredible dropout rates.
Yeah. I used to have to go to my circle. I used to have to take 2 bus journeys, which took me about an hour and a half each way, and then an hour and a half for the circle. And I used to do that every week, wind, weather, cold, whatever. When I had a circle of people sitting for me, I had a guy that every week travelled from Bristol to Wimborne every single week for nearly 2 years.
Mm.
And that was a commitment. That was a commitment. And, you know, often if you're online, I mean, crikey, we've only got to go from our bed or our couch to the screen. You know, I mean, that we found out in COVID. Even then, I had people going, "Oh, I'm busy on Wednesday," and I'm thinking, "Doing what? You can't go out the house."
I know. I was having that.
Where are you going?
So I couldn't make the other night. Something came up, and I'm like, "What?" Unless you're a burglar, there's absolutely nothing.
Maybe this is what you should be tuning in for.
So we've got somebody, NJ, trained
lovely.
remark. We must always give what we are given without interpretation, especially when it makes no sense. Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm.
The message is for the receiver and often plays out in the most incredible way. That's one of our biggest trip ups, isn't it? Because we're trying to make sense of somebody else's information. And I had this with somebody in one of the circles, and they had the ability, but they were just buggering about with what was coming through. And I said, will you just stop doing that and give exactly the way you're getting it? But I don't like it that way. And I said, without just, you know, it's like when you're in, so I'm going to blame
your lip.
I'm going to blame the energy of the circle. This is not your message, is it? That's edited because we're before the watershed. But you know, you just like.
But it is that, you know, you get people, and the problem is we know that some things are symbolic and have greater meaning and greater depth. Of course, we know that, but often there are things that get said, and you think, oh, I don't understand that. Well, first of all, give off what you're getting, but then you know you can go in and say, okay, well, why are they particularly bringing this? Why is something so obscure? But it's the evidence to the person. And then there may be more that comes from it. But often what we do is and this is part of our worry about being right, or I don't want to say it if it makes me look a fool, or I don't want to give it off just in case, you know, the person says no. And of course, a lot of people go, no, oh no, I've got it wrong. Embrace the no. I mean, Lawrence has seen me on church go, now I know you're going to say no to this before I give it to you. And I'll say something, the person says no. And I go, I told you you'd say no, but here's where it is. And then we'll go back and find it. Because you shouldn't be afraid of receiving the no, especially if you're in circle. Because it's through the no's that you learn to get stronger and work more with your evidence. You know, we shouldn't be afraid of a no. If it's the spirit world giving it, we'll find it.
Yeah.
If it's the spirit world giving it, we'll find it. We'll find where that information is. We'll find where that sitter is. I mean, you've seen me sometimes when no one takes a message, if I've got information but I don't know placement, I go, we're going to sit here all night till we find you. It's your time you're wasting. I always make light of it, because making light of it makes light of the fact there's no response. And then as we suddenly loosen the mind, because again, we're trying to loosen the mind up, no's make us cramp up if we're not careful. We go, oh, I've got it wrong. It's all going wrong. It's all going to fall to bits, rather than going, okay, that's a no. So how have I got this the wrong way around? Or is it a certain word I've said? Is it a description? Yeah. She was a very stubborn woman. No, she wasn't. Well, she's telling me she always liked her own way. Yes, she did. It's the word. The word, they don't associate stubborn, but they knew she always liked her own way. So sometimes just the way in which we're giving off the information can be, again, observing what we're actually getting.
Chris just saying, I do think our expectations strangulate the spirit world and limited our understanding. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. The mind is the navigator. The mind is the leader. Whatever you believe, you create within your mediumship. So if you think, oh, you know, I think people before a demonstration, oh God, this is going to be hard work. Well done. You've just set the tempo for the rest of your demonstration. Whereas if you go, oh, this is exciting, I wonder what's going to happen.
I don't know why I'm here tonight. I'm in a terrible mood. It's probably not going to work. Well, now it's not.
Or before a reading. Now, my mediumship's been really uncertain at the moment, and I'm all over the place every time I give a message. And you just think, great, we know what's happening going to happen now. You're going to be all over the place because you just told yourself.
Going with Chris there. I remember going to my circle the day after coming out of hospital, having an operation, and being able to sit down, so to lay on the floor and never miss a circle. Yeah. I loved it. Yeah.
And your heart should always be in it. If you think before going out to a circle, oh God, it's circle tonight. Oh, gee, your heart's not in it, and it means something is wrong. Either it's not the right circle for you, you've outgrown it, or there are other things in your life that you need to pay attention to. Yeah. Definitely.
And Keith's here.
Hello, Keith.
In the day, circles were similar to taking piano lessons. You went through basic learning to advanced exercises week after week until you improved. Many in circles just wanted to understand better rather than start mediumship careers as soon as possible. Circles need to be warm, friendly, and supporting. Not sure I proved a battle axe of the past, having known a few. You can be there's a very fine line between being warm, friendly, and supporting, and actually deluding your sitters.
Yeah, can be.
Oh, you're wonderful.
You want everything. You know, you're so amazing.
Oh my God! You know, everything you touch just turns to gold.
I mean, when we talk about, not sure about the battle axes, I can remember that if you got a raised eyebrow and a nod from a circle leader after you'd given a message, that was high praise.
Yeah.
Not all of this. Oh my God, that was amazing. Everybody ran. It was a very different time, and circle leaders were a lot stronger. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody that makes a stringent comment is necessarily doing it with the best of intentions. I've known people, and through my own experience, of very damaging. But
Marjorie Fry.
Well, Marjorie was great with me. She invited me to her circle, but I could never go because of where she was, and I couldn't just do it at the time. But I had a lot of respect for her because she was trained. Shirley Chubb, who has just returned home recently, bless her. She's old school. The girl medium, as she was known, because she started when she was so young. And Shirley knew what you were up to when you were working on a platform. She knew what you were doing when you were sitting in meditation and knew exactly where you were. And she took no truck. And I think that, we need to be able to have honest conversations with people. We do. And we don't necessarily need to be hurtful.
Well, no,
we don't need to be hurtful. And some people are just hurtful. I think if you can have an honest conversation with someone and talk to them about the problems, I've had to have in my years of teaching, I've had to say to a couple of people who have started to come and sit for development where there has been a lot of mental health issues, that I don't feel it's the best route for them. Because they're saying they want to be a platform medium and this, that, and the other, and yet their mental health, the state they're in at that time, is so difficult and so problematic. And we already find it difficult to distinguish between the spirit world, our mind, and our own fantasy and everything else. But I've been able to have those conversations from a caring perspective of saying, it worries me that you're in this state, and this is what I would suggest. It doesn't mean you can't meditate, it doesn't mean but you're looking to be this, and I don't think this is necessarily the right journey for you. And I've had to sort of say, it's maybe this isn't the right time for this. Maybe wait and see how life changes, and maybe see about coming back to this at a later stage. Come and have healing, come and be at the church, whatever it may be. But this idea of, I know I've got to be a medium, and I know I've got to be this, and I know I've got to be that, but yet everything else in your life you need to get self right. And that's where we talk about self-development and sort out your own stuff, and we need to look at that. And sometimes we have to deal with life. We can't just keep trying to escape it, and we've got to be able to. So we have to. I've had conversations that are like that, but I've done it not in a way of destroying someone, but saying I care, and because I care, I don't want you to put yourself into a worse situation. I don't want to see you become worse with your health, physically, mentally, emotionally, because of what you think is happening in this state. And so we have to have that. People have said, do you think I should be doing this? Do you think I should be doing that? I said, well, do you think you're ready? Do you think you're in a space? Well, no, I don't. Well, then if you don't think, well, it's because other people have offered and said I should do it. Well, it's not about them. They're not doing it. What do you think? How do you feel? you know, and again, everyone's going to be on their own journey. So you could tell people, I don't think this is for you, and next week they just go and join a different circle.
Yeah.
But you know that you've been honest in what you feel about them and where they're at, and also maybe where you can or can't help progress or deal with. No one should ever be in the same circle for their entire life.
No, definitely.
You know, you learn with different people at different stages and different times. You know, it's I mean, it's lovely. I have got people that sat with me for a very long time, but they just enjoy sitting with us. It's just it's that together kind of thing. You know, you talk about 6 weeks. I mean, I think I've been running a Wednesday night circle for 20 something odd years, and I've still got the odd person who just enjoys the social of being in a group where we talk about the spirit world and we work with the spirit world. They don't necessarily always want to be on the platform. They don't always necessarily want to set up as a healer. They just enjoy sitting with spirit, which is what we talked about earlier, why old home circles were so good, because everyone just sat there because it was a nice thing to do. Yeah. It wasn't sat with a great intention of anything. It was just allowing, you know, this feeling of this healing power, this feeling of the spirit world coming around them, and you know, just open to whatever might happen, you know. And I think that's that's one of the important things, is that let go of expectation, put your expectations at the door, leave life at the door when you come into circle, and just be of spirit in that time. Just be of spirit in the space, in the stillness, and just be of spirit, and that's it. And let the other world lead and guide you as you're unfolding. You know, absolutely. Well, we've got lots of lovely comments coming in here, there, and everywhere.
Lovely. Esmeralda from Holland.
Hello.
There has to be balance in everyone who attends a circle. No expectations. Doesn't matter if there are problems outside of yourselves, as long as you can shift yourself in the balance. So everyone has to balance themselves, I believe. Yeah.
We always were told, you know, when I used to have a circle, I used to say, when you come into the circle, don't grouse or moan about your life before we sit. Come in, sit, and then when we're having the tea and biscuits afterwards, because that was always an integral part of circle, that's when you can have a moan. But you're setting the energy before you sit. And if someone comes in and goes, oh God, if I could kill him, I could have it. That's then in the middle of the circle when everyone's going to sit. And it's like,
we have somebody without fail. Did you see what they did? Did you see that article about the cats? And when and I'm just like, get out.
Not now.
Get out. I am sick and tired of this. Every time you walk in here, it's always doom and gloom. Cheer up or bugger off.
But it's, you know, it's a bit like often before services. I've been at churches and people have come in and are moaning about politics. Are moaning. What are you doing? No, that can stay there. They can wait. Spirit coming through on the glass is spirit. But people come in and start moaning about this has gone on a committee and that's gone on a committee and this has happened. And I'd go, do you mind? I'm just sitting to blend with the other world before taking your service. I really don't want to know about what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah. You know, I just want to sit and blend with the spirit world. I really don't need that at this moment. And those are people that are hosting or chairing service, and you think you should know better before your demonstration. Yeah. You should know this is our time to get in the zone. And the last thing I want to do is think, oh Jesus Christ, I'm trying to do a message in the middle of you know, in the middle of a war zone. You don't want to be put on that edge.
When I'm taking people out to get them platform experience, you always have this conversation. You do not get involved in church and committee politics, full stop. Unless you want to go on a committee. Otherwise, because anything you say will be used out of context in somewhere. But Mark Stone said, you know, just as a response to an open question. It's just, and I always say to him, don't do it. I'm warning you. Just don't do it.
Don't
It
get
will
dragged
bite
in.
you on the arse.
Yeah, don't get dragged into the drama.
Yeah.
You know, and this is, again, some people have gone, oh, I don't like doing this because of, you know, this, that, and the other. I said, look, you can be a medium, go to a church, do your job as the medium, serve the spirit world, serve the people of the church, and walk away. You don't have to get involved in the drama.
Exactly.
You don't have to get involved. You know, and I think it's one of those things. You know, if you want to be involved in church and you want to get right in the middle of things, and you want to be on committee, or you want to be involved in a union or a group or whatever, entirely up to you. But, you know, often if we just want to do the work of the Spirit, just do the work of the Spirit and let everything else go. Be like Elsa, let it go. Should be Wicked now, shouldn't it? We should be finding a Wicked song.
Oh, okay.
It'd be popular.
We'll have a look later on. Yeah. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Absolutely lovely. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful talk. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Thank you, everybody that came along and supported the church today. There's a couple of you in the room, so thank you. And look forward to seeing you in church. We've got Emma Evans.
Emma Evans tomorrow morning.
Not Emma Stone. Emma Evans. I'm fixated on Emma Stone. Yeah. It's Emma Evans. Her first visit to us tomorrow.
And I'm in the back room with all my pop-up shop stuff as well. So I'll be there all day as well.
Yeah.
Going to be a fab day. Another fab day.
Yeah. Another wonderful day. In the meantime, thank you, everybody. We have got somebody with us next week on the Lyceum.
Ooh.
Somebody lovely. Watch your space.
Oh,
you like the way I covered it? I haven't got a clue who it is.
Well, indeed.
Good.
Any volunteers?
No. Actually, I think it might be Phil Dykes and Kerry McLeod.
Oh, there you go. Ooh.
Or it might be Joy Sager. I think it's Joy Sager from the States.
Tune in to find out. Yes. I think it's a good answer to that.
Yeah, we're going to run a poll now. Which one do you think it is?
Oh, no, don't start that. Worst thing you can do.
Anyway, everybody, thank you. Enjoy tonight. Seriously, going to absolutely do nothing now. If you're
well-earned rest.
If you're expecting me to host you and run around and make a fuss of you, you are going to be sadly disappointed. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Good night.
Night.
God bless.